Hi, I'm Erika Gilchrist, the Unstoppable Woman, speaker, author, and trainer. And welcome to WTF, Women Thriving Fearlessly, where we feature the personal stories of successful people to inspire women to thrive. And with us today, we have a phenomenal woman who simply exemplifies what it means for women to thrive fearlessly. Her name is Tasha Joyner, and she's the founder of the Tasha C. Joyner Foundation. Her story is amazing, and what she did with it is helped other women thrive as well. And I'm honored to have her on the show. When you imagine women thriving fearlessly, you may envision a superhero of sorts, with a flapping cape, flying through the air and saving people from harm. Well, although there's no cape, this woman is definitely a shero in her own right. Tasha found a calling for her life in a manner that would otherwise be deemed by others as a death sentence. And that's what people think of when they hear the word cancer. But instead of submitting to defeat, she rose courageously and turned her tragedy into a triumph. I'm very proud of her for choosing life for herself, but also for choosing to breathe life into others as well. Tasha is the epitome of a woman thriving fearlessly. Tasha, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And I know some of your story, and I think it's absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit about the moment your life took a shift.
Wow. A big shift at that.
Mm-hmm.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2003 when my baby was a little infant, 8 months old. I finished nursing him for 8 months, and soon as I finished nursing, my breasts start burning. And being a first-time mom, I didn't know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if my milk was drying up or my milk trying to break back through the ducts. I had no clue why my left breast was burning. And I had dizzy spells also. I had eliminated sodium in my diet, trying to get pregnant through my pregnancy and while nursing my baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I had dizzy spells, and that's what sent me to the doctor. Not the burning sensation. I just thought, well, whatever that is, it is what it is. But the blood pressure, I was dizzy, and I told my husband, something's not right. He told me to go to the doctor. So I went, and sure enough, I had a tinge of high blood pressure, tinge of hypertension, which runs in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to my doctor, by the way, my left breast is burning. And she said, your breast burn? I said, yeah, something just doesn't feel right. And so she gave me a breast exam, my first breast exam. I was 36 years old.
Wow.
I wasn't thinking about doing self-exams,
Mm-hmm.
never heard about the breast cancer in my family. So when she did my first breast exam, she had a raised eyebrow, and that raised my eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what's wrong? She said, something doesn't feel right. I'm going to send you for your mammogram. I'm like, a mammogram? So I went for my mammogram, and 3 days later, I get a call that says it was suspicious malignancy.
Okay.
Of course, I'm educated. I know what malignancy means.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good word.
Right.
So I said, well, what does that mean exactly? It means that there's something there that we need to look at. I said, okay. Then I went for a biopsy about 2 days later,
Mm-hmm.
and they extracted 14 pieces of tissue from my left breast for the biopsy. And on January 26, 2003, I got the devastating news that you have breast cancer in my milk ducts.
Mm.
So, of course, I had an anxiety attack because
course.
first-time mom,
Mm-hmm.
I just nursed my son, and you're telling me I have a disease in my milk ducts? Did I just transfer that to my baby?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thought. So that's when my life shifted, just took a complete turn. And I was devastated, of course, tried to get a little person in my life for 6 years and finally got my baby, and you're telling me I've got breast cancer. So
then for the record, the disease did not transfer or get passed to your son.
no, but being naive, not being educated on the disease, that's what I thought. So I had anxiety attacks
I'm sure.
for months. But no, you cannot transmit cancer cells to your child through your you're breastfeeding.
Okay, so talk to us how did your life change?
Well, I went on a fast and furious mission to live and survive because it was no longer about me. It was now about this little person that I prayed to get into this world and prayed for this gift. And it changed because I redirected my focus. I said, I need to live for this little person. I need to put everything in my life on hold so that I could be here for him. And I didn't care if the doctor told me to cut all 5 of my fingers off and drink my blood. I was going to do that because I needed to live. So. And
you're married. So how did your husband take the news?
You know what, Erika, at first I wasn't quite sure how his reaction was because looking at him, he was very stoic. He didn't show any emotion. He didn't really hug and kiss and love on me. And I'm like, dude.
Right. What's up with that?
Hello. I've got breast cancer. 2 years later, I found out that he collapsed in his mother's lap crying, and he collapsed on his best friend's shoulder crying. But he could not display that emotion to me because both of us couldn't be torn up.
Okay. So he was being the pillar.
He was being the pillar, being the rock, being the man that he is. And his name is Charles, which means manly. So how he took it, he internalized it because his job was to take care of me and take care of his newborn child. And he could not display that emotion to me because I think if he did, I think I would not have gotten stronger faster than I did because I'm thinking, okay, well, he's not showing any emotion. I've got to gird up, take care of my child, take care of my home, and just be the woman,
My goodness. So talk to us about the treatments. What is that like?
Breast cancer is a very emotional journey. You go through like this roller coaster, up and down. And sometimes the roller coaster stands still and you're turned upside down, just dangling. So the treatment plan is different for every woman. It's different for every woman. But for me, because my breast cancer did not metastasize, it did not spread, I did not have to have chemotherapy.
Okay.
I'm sure you understand chemotherapy. Women go through the hair loss, the weight gain, the weight loss. They lose their taste buds. Sometimes their brain cells aren't even functioning right. Sometimes they forget certain things. For me, I had a 5-year medication treatment. I was on 2 pills a day for 5 years called tamoxifen. Now, it's not chemotherapy intravenously, but it's oral chemotherapy.
Okay.
So my body still experienced a lot of side effects. I didn't lose my hair, but other things happened where I had a small bowel obstruction. Everyone has enzymes in their intestines that digest their food. My enzymes was digesting my pancreas. So I was rushed to the hospital for 5 days. Then 2 months after that, I had cysts all over my ovaries that weren't there. I've always had normal exams. The cyst ruptured and I swelled up like I was 6 months pregnant. And then a couple months after that, my teeth loosened from the gums.
Wow.
So all of that was a result of me taking oral chemo. It took about a year for my body to get used to that medication. So my body experienced trauma, as does every woman who has breast cancer with a different type of treatment plans.
There was a story you told me about your mother, and I love it. I absolutely love it. If you would, please just share with us that story that you shared with me.
Well, when I got breast cancer in 2003, I did get reconstructed. So I had a 9-hour surgery where they removed the left breast and they reconstructed the left breast by doing a tram flap, which is the muscle, fat, and tissue from my stomach to rebuild my breast. So they did that surgery on February 18, 2003. And then on July 12th, 2003, just 5 months later, I get a call that they didn't get all the cancer.
Wow.
So, yeah. So they had to remove the reconstructed breast, go back in, do a deeper cavity mastectomy to get the cancer cells that were left behind. And I said, you know what? You've already cut on me 5 times. I'm done. I don't need a breast. It did its purpose. It fed my son. So 6 years later, even though they took the muscle, fat, and tissue in 2003, well, in 2009, when they put a mesh in my abdomen from removing, 6 years later, the mesh got infected. And I was in the hospital for 17 days, literally on my deathbed. I was writing my funeral. I was planning my funeral. I was calling my family, calling my friends, calling everyone to the hospital. And doctors are saying, you know, you've got 60 people in your room. That's against regulations. I said, not for me. It's not. So I was laying there, and the doctors did not know what to do. They didn't know what to do. And I'm kind of slipping in and out of consciousness, but I'm still hearing these doctors say, well, what if the cancer is back and it's in her stomach? Then I heard another doctor say, well, if we try to remove the mesh, she won't make it. Then I heard another doctor say, well, maybe she has intestinal cancer. So I'm hearing all this while I'm slipping in and out of consciousness.
And none of it's good.
None of it's good. So I may as well just die listening to what you're telling me. Well, someone called my mother. She lived in Detroit, Michigan at the time. And my mother said, I do not care who is in that room with my child, whether you believe in Jesus or not. I want you to form a hedge around my baby's bed. And so from what I heard, because I was out of it, everyone joined hands and she went forth in prayer. And from what I heard, the very next day, the doctors came in and said, we know what to do.
How about that?
Yeah. So Mama was vigilant in her prayers, and I believe.
What did they do?
Well, they had to take 4 vials of blood from my right arm, because they can't do anything with my left arm, because that's where my breast cancer was. That's where the lymph nodes were removed. And they took 4 vials of blood in a 3-hour window. Now, my veins are small. They're deep and they roll. So it takes some time for them to just get a needle in there. They had to go through my feet, and they had a 3-hour window to ship the blood. They took a helicopter blood. They took the blood in a helicopter to Indiana, and they separated the red blood cells from the white blood cells, because white blood cells is what fights infection. And since I had a mesh infection, the white blood count just kept dropping and dropping, wouldn't fight the infection. That's why I was getting weaker. Well, they gave the white blood cells a radiation booster. They injected the white blood cells with this booster to make them stronger. They literally brought the blood back to Chicago, injected it back in me, and the next day I was up.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. That is amazing. And anyone who's watching this, the reason I wanted you to say what happened, because the first time I heard that, I was absolutely blown away. I'd never heard of that before. The body is designed to heal itself.
It is.
And that's what they did. They used something that you already had, gave it a little help, and then they gave it back to you for you to get healthy. So now here it is, how many years later since the diagnosis? 11 years or so later.
11 years later.
And you've decided to do something with this story. You've decided to reach out and help other women. So tell us how you were able to do that.
Well, after taking the 2 pills a day for 5 years, I decided, I'm just going to celebrate life to the 10th power squared infinity. I'm just going to celebrate life. And every year during the month of my diagnosis, I was diagnosed in January of 2003. Every year I was celebrating life with my girlfriends. I have a core group of girlfriends. And these are the ladies who were there at the hospital during my surgery, taking care of my son while I was in the hospital, just coming to my house and just nurturing me. So every January, I would celebrate them as being a phenomenal woman. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for taking care of my son. Thank you for feeding me. Thank you for doing everything that a sister friend does.
That's right.
And I just said to myself after 5 years, you know what? I haven't celebrated my husband for staying with me. Even though I told you, 2 years later, I didn't find out, about his emotion through this. But I said, I have not celebrated my husband. So I said I was going to take a topless picture and I was going to present it to him. And it was just going to be for us, for our bedroom. And it wasn't like I was getting his permission. I was just telling him this is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And so he says, well, I want to be in the picture with you. Well, how can you be in a picture with me when it's a picture of me to you? Hello? No, you can't do that. It's my picture to you. No, I'm going to be in the picture with you. I said, okay. So we looked for a photographer. We looked for a makeup artist. And what unfolded was a portrait that someone saw this portrait and told a woman who is a healthcare provider about this portrait. And this woman says she needs to unveil that portrait at our fashion show for breast cancer, and she needs to be our guest speaker.
Wow.
And I'm like, unveil the picture in front of people?
Right.
I don't know if I want to do that. Well, she convinced me to do it. And on June 29, 2008, 600 people at the Marmon Grand Ballroom on Michigan Avenue saw the picture. And that's the day I started a foundation, because when I told my story and when I unveiled that picture, I had men and women crying, coming up with checks. How can I help you? I'm like, help me do what? Do you do this for a living? No, I'm alive. I do this for life. This is life. Well, you need to start a foundation. You need to do something. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I started a foundation 3 weeks after that, and I had a first event on November 1st, 2008.
And it's called?
The Tasha C. Joyner Foundation.
The Tasha C. What does the C stand for?
Charisse.
The Tasha C. Joyner Foundation. What specifically does the foundation do?
Well, we are a celebration of life group. Not so much support, but a celebration of life, because we hear about awareness and research. But what about the women who have breast cancer? Now what? We've survived. We've gone through our treatments. It's now about celebrating life and lifting up another woman in case she gets diagnosed. So what we do is touch points. We talk to a woman when she's first diagnosed. We not only hear her, but we listen. We listen to her story. Then we do navigation. We go with her to the doctor's appointments, because when you hear the word cancer, everything after that word is muffled.
It's a blur.
You don't hear anything else. So you need an advocate. You need someone there who can take notes, who can decipher what the doctor's saying, who can speak on your behalf. And then after the navigation, we go through the survival mode. We embrace you. We make you feel comfortable. So we do touch points when you're first diagnosed. We navigate with you through the doctors because you need an advocate. And then we embrace you through that survivorship mode. And we make sure you are going to get through this because we're here to help you. That's what we do. How
did you find these ladies? You started the foundation. I'm going to help these ladies with these touch points. And how many ladies were there to start with, and how many are there now?
To start with, 1.
Okay.
Now we have 67.
Wow.
And it's ironic how it first started. I didn't go out looking. I wasn't out recruiting. Hey, are you a breast cancer survivor? Come to the Tasha Joyner Foundation. It just happened. One person heard about me, told someone else, oh, isn't your sister a breast cancer survivor? She needs this group. So each one reached one. And ironically, most of the ladies I met was on the Metro train in Chicago.
On the way somewhere.
On the way to work, on the way downtown for fireworks, whatever. On the Metro train.
How about that? Now you have something called Pillow Talk, right?
Yes.
Tell us about Pillow Talk.
Well, Pillow Talk is where the ladies come once a month for 2 hours to take care of them. Because we're so busy nurturing everyone else.
Every single person.
When are you going to take care of yourself? Most women take a quick shower, never really sit and soak in a tub. Most women do microwave breakfast for themselves, but they'll fix that hot dog, pancakes and steak and eggs for everyone else.
That's right.
So Pillow Talk is a retreat once a month where the ladies come and just enjoy each other's company. We do not talk about the issue because that's what brought us there.
That's right.
We talk about, oh, look how pretty. Oh my God, where's your lipstick? Who did your lipstick? Where'd you get your lipstick from? We talk about girl stuff.
Yes.
So it's just a retreat for them to come and get a massage, fellowship with one another, and just look at each other and say, I understand. We don't even have to talk about it.
Right. Now, I did, for the viewing audience, I did have an opportunity to attend one of your pillow talks. And from the moment you walk in the door, and not even the door here, but walking into the building, you feel embraced and warm. There's photographs of you saying, we're so glad you're here. Welcome. Before I even got to the front door of the space, I felt like they're happy to see me. And what I found to be a revelation is that when I walked in, there were women that I recognized, but had no idea that they had this experience in their lives. And what that did for me is it just confirmed that every person has a story, and a lot of women have not told their story. There's just a select few people that they feel comfortable with in saying that. And the one word that came to mind as I experienced the pillow talk with you all, it was just phenomenal. It was a phenomenal experience. It was warm. It was loving. It wasn't contrived. It wasn't trite. It wasn't, okay, I have this foundation, and because I have it, people donate money, and now I have to make sure that we look like we're doing something. It was nothing like that, because I've been to foundations that do that. It was authentic. It was genuine. And even though they didn't know me, some of them didn't know me, it would still give me a hug. May I make you a plate of something? Are you thirsty? Catering. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I was impressed. I was touched. I cried. I love what it is that you're doing. And I'm encouraging you to continue to do that. Please continue to do that. And even after that, there were some people that I was aware of. And I said, hey, you need a new family, because the family that they had was not supporting them. And I said, I know where you can go. That is something that was really, it felt good to me to be able to refer someone who needed that type of help to a foundation like this. So now I want to talk about the foundation. Okay. Having not built a foundation before this, what were some challenges in getting this foundation together on paper as well as in person?
That's kind of a two-handed question, because the challenge, you're talking to a woman who knew nothing about breast cancer, absolutely nothing prior to being diagnosed, no family history. So there was no reason for me to go out there and read up on it. I mean, you know, you normally read up on things that you need to learn. I wasn't thinking about breast cancer. And it wasn't so much of a challenge as it is a passion. When I started learning about breast cancer, when I started learning specifics, and having conversations with women and understanding, you know, we all go through different things, but we all have this in common.
Yes.
So it wasn't a challenge. I just think it was a mission. It was a calling. It was something that I had to do.
And you're doing it. You're thriving in it, which is why I have you on
Thank
Women
you.
Thriving Fearlessly, girl, because I'm telling
you.
you, that is absolutely amazing. So if there was someone who said, you know what, I love what Tasha's doing, how can I support her? For anyone who's watching, how can they support the Tasha C. Joyner Foundation?
Well, we do have a website. It's www.ctjoynerfoundation.org. We also have a telephone number that they call. I get a lot of calls from women who have friends or family members who need a wig, who need transportation to chemo or radiation, who needs prosthesis. We get tons of calls. So that's what the nonprofit organization is about, raising money so that we can help all the women out here. We can't do it all alone, each one reach one. So that's how they can contact and make a donation. We are a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible.
Very nice. So can you think of a woman, past or present, famous or not famous, who you would consider a woman who's thriving fearlessly? Who would that be for you?
Ooh. Well, I think celebrity or not, or
doesn't matter.
You know, I have such an admiration, had such an admiration for Ruby Dee. I absolutely loved her spirit, her beauty, and the fact that she stood by her husband all those years, and they didn't have children. And for me to see all the people who she embraced and who surrounded her, they became her children. So I admire the fact that people can gravitate to you just on your spirit. And I never met her. I wish I had the opportunity to meet her, but her spirit just exudes through the screen. I would sit there mesmerized just watching her.
Now, see, they didn't have children, but they did have a legacy.
Yes.
They absolutely left a legacy. Someone that she's never met before. Seeing on television talking about her thriving fearlessly. That is a legacy when you touch people. So Tasha, someone comes to you and they've just been diagnosed, right? What do you say to them?
You know, it just flows. There's no script. There are no words that you can really say to that person at that moment because all she heard is cancer. So when you can look at another woman and say, I understand, and you truly understand, I think that breaks down the barriers, that breaks down the wall and let her open up easily. Typically what I say is, what can I do to help you? Do you have family support? Is this in your family? Have you experienced this before through generation? And if her answer is yes, then I decide how I'm going to have that conversation if she's experienced it in her family. If she's never experienced it, I embrace her more because then I understand I've never experienced it. Let me tell you how I got through if you're open to listening. So 99.9% of the women who come to me, they stay because exactly what they feel, exactly what I felt through seeing Ruby D.
Yes.
That spirit and that, you know, I've been told that's what they see. And that's what gravitates them to me, is they stay because of my spirit.
Now, I want to talk about you, just you. You have all of these women who are going through this very traumatic experience, and I'm sure a lot of them are pulling at you. It's an emotional challenge to be there for multiple people, multiple times, for a long, extended period of time. And I'm sure that takes a lot out of you. So let's talk about how Tasha is able to recharge and refocus and regroup to be there for these ladies. How do you do that?
I hear this all the time. How do you do it? Oh my God, you talked to 20 women this week. And you tend to take on that emotion. One thing that I do every Sunday is a ritual bath. I center myself because I need to be recharged. But this is what I love to do. I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as a passion. So I'm putting all my heart into it. And at the end of the day, I go home. And I look in the eyes of my son. And he's the reason why I do what I do. So I don't look at it as work. I do not get tired. I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do.
And you thrive.
And
you absolutely thrive fearlessly in that. If there's anything that you want our viewers to know, anything at all, what would that be?
Well, take care of you. Take care of your body. Know your body. And embrace others. If you're diagnosed with a disease, do not think this is a death sentence.
Yeah.
It's a life sentence because for the rest of your life, you will think about it, but at the same token, help someone else. So if I could give to the listeners anything, that is, make sure you love you so that you can love someone else.
I love it. Thank you. Tasha, thank you so much for joining us today. You are an amazing, phenomenal woman who's thriving fearlessly, and I feel very blessed and lucky to have someone like you in my circle. Thank you for all that you do, because it doesn't stop with you. All of these women that you're touching, they touch me and they touch you globally. So thank you for what it is that you're doing. I hate that it had to come about in such a fashion, but look at what has manifested because of it. And you're an awesome mom.
Thank you.
Amazing mother, wonderful wife, and thank you so much. Tell them one more time how they can support you. Give them the website.
It's www.ctjoinerfoundation.org.
Excellent. Tasha, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we're going to say bye to our viewers for now. Bye. I'm Erika Gilchrist, award-winning speaker, author, and trainer. And thank you for watching this episode of WTF, Women Thriving Fearlessly. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel and be sure to share this video with all your friends and all your social networks. And head on over to theunstoppablewoman.net where we can take your questions and comments. And until we speak again, thrive fearlessly.